Hello, hello. Hi, Catherine. How is everybody today?
Very good, thank you.
You good? Are we using paints or are we going with our pencils? What are we doing today? I'm going to use paints.
I might stick to my pencils because the state of my paints is horrendous. It's just, I couldn't believe it. I'd never used watercolors. My daughters had a go.
That's okay. I should show you mine. Mine aren't much better. Look. I mix inside the paint. So basically I get about 3 litres of paint on the same paint. I quite like doing that because you get quite random effects. But yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, because have you got watercolour pencils there?
I do have watercolor pencils as well, yes.
Okay, let's go see how that works.
And I'm using some of my, I work with oil paints, so I'm using some of my oil paint brushes.
Okay,
the thin one.
So if you're using watercolour pencils,
you won't need a.
You just put water on basically to colour it in and then put water on. You can go back in and add the colour over the top because basically the pencil inside that pencil there is just what's in your palette. So your water's made all mucky at the moment, but that's what's in it. That's all. So you can actually go over and add. Also, have you got the Castle ones?
Yes.
Yes, they blend quite nicely actually.
That one, isn't it?
No, we're doing this one today.
Oh dear. Okay, I need to get another print out then.
All right. I don't know when the lighthouse is. I've got a list there. They're in my folder. I'll have to flick it over. I think next week's is the family one with Nemo in the sea and all that. I'm just letting it rain at the moment. Anyone been out there this morning? It's quite nice out there this morning. At the moment, it's going to get wet. I just popped out for 45 minutes. I need my friend to walk the dog. Anyone outside on Saturday? Did anyone brave it Saturday?
I did. Sat in my car and came back. I just didn't get out. Went out to pay parking and I thought, oh my God, I'm not doing this.
That was horrendous. I didn't even go out. I literally did not go out in it. I just look, because my studio here is in the converted, we converted the conservatory, and it sounded worse in here than it did anywhere else in the house. I just kept looking outside thinking, no, I'm not going out in that. And then I went out Sunday thinking, oh, I'll be all right, because the sun came out. And then halfway around the woods, the heavens opened on my head as I was running.
Woods aren't woods these days, are they? They're just slide and slip and.
They're just awful. I mean, I'm a traveller. I run on the trails all the time. I don't know if any of you have been into Browns Hill, but I'm kind of learning my way around that at the moment. And because there were so many people, because they all came out when the sun came out, I couldn't get into my little car park. So I went off to one that I found when I was running. I was terrified I'd never get out of the woods and find my car again. So I literally did little loops round. So I didn't lose my car because I thought it's too far for me to run home, too far for me to walk home, much too far.
Abby, what do we need today?
We are doing this today. So you will need your normal pencils, paper, uniball, rubber, and watercolour paints if you have, or you can use your pencils if you want. It's up to you what you would like to do.
Brilliant, thank you. Pencil.
Obviously, you will need some, even if you are using your watercolour pencils as paints, you will need a little cup of water somehow. And I just got my children's old beakers they had when they were toddlers, and then a piece of kitchen towel always helps. take off excess water. So grab yourself some kitchen towel. That's probably the only extra equipment that we have we're going to use today. Oh, do you have a wax candle or something? Or crayon? These are just wax. Candle, crayon. If you have that, would be
Is that for today?
Yes, but don't worry if you haven't, because you'll just have to, all it is the lines on here. You can see the lines.
Yeah.
You have to leave them with when you're painting it. It just, if you're using watercolors resist wax. If you're using acrylic, this won't work, because obviously acrylic's made of plastic base and it'll just go straight over anything to do with wax. But they're quite handy. Wax resistors, I use it quite a lot. It stops you painting the area and it keeps it white, and you don't have to do little diddly bits. You can just switch over the whole thing. Just saves it. I mean, if you've got a tea light or something, but if you haven't, don't worry. That's just part of what we're doing today. Everyone all right? Good to go? Just going to give everyone a couple of minutes because they run off to get their bits and pieces, I can see. I'm just going to spotlight me so everyone can see me. It's better. Just waiting for everyone to arrive back at their desks. I can see a few empty seats at the moment. I want to get their pots of water, I think, and kitchen towel. Here we go. We're back.
Debbie?
Yes.
My son did the poppies.
Wow. Wow. Whoa, that is beautiful. He's done an amazing job. The son who said he couldn't draw. I think he needs to change that big time. Wow. Is he impressed? Does he like it?
Yeah, I think so.
Good.
So he does it very quickly. So
yeah, children.
It's quite a lot of time to sit there. So yeah. I didn't.
Sorry.
I did the elephant with him right from the start again, but because I only got to the colouring point, I wanted to do the colouring point. So, and then unfortunately somebody rang me and I was on the phone. So he pretty much did that all on his own, really.
Did he?
So, yeah.
Yeah. Children work a lot quicker than us. They don't have any inhibitions. They'll go off and just experiment. They like shapes. When I do the children's workshops, I literally just draw shapes and then try and plan the page for them a little bit, but they do like to plan their own pages and put in, you'll do 3 elephants and they'll probably do 6.
Yeah.
So it's best just to go like, well, this is what I'm doing, and then off they go. And it's interesting, the older they get, because in normal times I do this kind of stuff out in the big world, in halls, cafes and the likes, and the children's workshops, when they get to about 10, 11, 12, I would say, they lose their confidence in drawing for some reason. They constantly ask me, is it all right, is it all right, is it all right? And you have to go, there's no right way or wrong way. That's your way. We will have our own different styles. There's no right way or wrong way to any art, really. If you look at some like Dali, and then you've got Van Gogh and all those artists, they're all different. And it's their way, that's how they see something. So it's interpretation. That's what it is. If you want it perfect, you just take a photograph. That's what I tell people. Just take this stuff. Otherwise, it's I always think art's just a feeling of how I was trying. I like to, if I'm doing a commission, I like to have gone to the place so I can feel what it's like, or hopefully I've gone there. It gets quite difficult if you haven't, to create that kind of scene, because people have that feeling in their head. One at the moment, I've had to go into Google Maps, onto Google Earth with that little yellow man, because it's in-house in London somewhere. So I've had to go with the little yellow man into Google Maps and walk up and down the street so I can get an idea where the light is coming from, where their house is positioned, because I've got no idea. And their pictures were so bad that it was a childhood picture and I couldn't see. So it worked. I've managed to draw up on the Google Maps, Google Earth, drawing a picture, which is really a bizarre way to do it, but what works, works. Right, I think we'll make a start because everyone's back at their desk. I'm going to draw alongside you. So just the first stage is to cut your picture into quarters, and we're going to work the usual way. I'm just going to take my camera down so you can see. So I'm just going to work alongside you here. So today it's a little bit of angles going on, a little bit of you're going to start to learn how to use your paints and put in some light sources. Excuse me. Right. I'm going to put some dots on that now. Excuse me. Don't drink. Oh, right. Over to the right. 13 dots. 1 centimetre apart. So I'm going to take some drink. And then come back to the middle. Then you're going to go up 6 dots, 1 centimetre apart. And these are the dots that we're going to be working the church from. And then you come down 7 dots, 1 centimetre apart. And then back to the middle and across to the left, 6 dots, 1 centimetre apart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So hopefully everyone saw what we're doing. We're going to be doing this today, this one. So we create the grid. We're going to start on the church there. So first of all, we're going to put the bottom of the church on. This is what we're going to work off the church. And then just slightly under that, we're going to have a line for the
Sorry,
field.
Debbie, how many down below? Sorry, I just didn't catch
7.
that. 7, thank you.
7 down. So this line here where the church sits on, you're going to draw a line out here at the 4 centimetre mark. 2, 3, 4. And then just come slightly under it, 1/2 centimetre, and draw yourself another line. Right across.
Debbie, how far does the 4 centimetre line go out to? Is it 13?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Literally, it's just so you're going to just take it out to, yeah, you can go right across the page if that helps you. So everyone all right? Have we got up to that stage? Thumbs up if you're there. And I know I'm not left anyone behind. Right. So we've just put these lines here. We're going to start to build the tower of the church. So what we're going to be doing is this part here on the church. We're going to work off that. So I want you to come across from the, going to go up 4 centimetres. You're going to come across 2. So go up 4 and across 2. And draw yourself a line all the way down. So that's 4 centimetre line that you created at the bottom of the church. So find the 4 centimetre point, 2 centimetre point, go across. Don't draw yourself a line across, you don't need it, it's just a guide. I've just done you a dotted line. And then come all the way down to that 4 centimetre mark. Just so it looks like that, basically. Coming down. I'm just going to rub out my little line I drew across there on the way. Okay. Draw the next bit. So you're going to come across So 1, 2, 3.5 centimetre point. Going to go up to the 4 that you originally drew. Draw yourself a line up first. 3.5. 1, 2, 3.5. So line up. And you're going to come down about 0.5 centimetre, just below that original horizon line that you drew. Just bring that line down about 0.5 centimetre. So it should look something like that comes below the line there. I'm going to start on the roof. Now, you're going to come out for 1 centimetre point. You can draw yourself a little faint line if you like. You can do yourself a dot because it's going to come up from the 5 centimetre point here. And we're going to work off that. So first we'll draw this box here. And then I'm going to put the other line in a minute. So 1 centimetre across to the right and down. You're going to come out by the 5 centimetre part and down. So 1 centimetre across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You should have a little point. And as you can see, that point there, I want you to draw a line. This is the start of the roof. Well, I've got this here. I've got that point there, and I've got that line there, which went below. I'm just going to get my ruler. Do them up. Everyone got that? Be sure to get that right, because that's the start of the roof. Now you're going to draw the next line up here on the top of that line you've just drawn, and you go back up to the 4. So they're all level, basically. So pop that line in there for me. And then once you've got that, come right down back to that line that you drew at an angle, right at the bottom here. You're going to draw a line straight across until you reach the 9 centimetre point and just stop. Don't do anything else with it, just stop. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it should just come out like that. Just stop. And then you're going to take that line, that corner there, you're going to follow it because these need to be parallel with each other. Go across and you can come out at about the 9.5 centimetre point there and stop. Just go slightly beyond it. You can probably see what's happening now. We're going to create the roof part. And you're going to join them up. So join those up. Try and keep, you might have to just adjust yours slightly, try and keep them at the same angle. So mine is slightly further. It's just trying to get you to do that angle. So basically, I'm going to take, if you see that line there, I'm just going to drag my ruler across, and I gave you that line there. I'm just going to take that out a little bit further, take that down, and just bring that, it needs to stay at the same angle for the roof. That makes sense. We're just going to pop it down like that. So I've got the roof. So those two angles stay the same. And then once you've done that, you can see at the top here, we've put the little turrets on the church. So just pop those on yours, as you see on the screen there. You can do them differently if you like. A little dome, a little towel thing for the weather vane or whatever they have up there. Is everyone all right with the roofs and stuff, angles and all sorts? Thumbs up if you're all right. Chat if you're not. Cool, cool. Now this looks a bit busy, this next one. We're just going to do a little bit, steps at a time. So we're going to pop the back on first. So I'm just going to cover up this bit here. It's not really that big up. So when you just put the back on, draw yourself a triangle at the back there. So they look the same and come down, as you can see on the back there. So you might have to just adjust yours slightly. It should possibly come through the next number along, which I think is number, what have we got under there? 9. So it goes through the 10 here and draw itself a little, the back of the church, as you can see on the screen there for me. So I've just drawn mine across and down. I'm just going to put it back on. It comes down to that first line, 4 centimetre line that you drew. Everything sits on that 4 centimetre line. So you have something like that. And then we're going to put all the details on the church. So it's quite difficult to like show you dot to dot exactly where to put them, but I will show you that that comes down. Well, that starts here, this line here starts about the 1 centimetre point there. So if you want to come down and draw yourself a little dot at 1 centimetre point underneath there, then you can work off that. Draw yourself a line across. Of course, it doesn't go all the way across. So I'm going to draw a bush. If you look at the original picture, we've actually got a bush going on in front there. So just draw it up to that point that you can see on the screen there. So I've just basically come down from this point here, 1 centimetre, and I'm just going to draw a line across. And then I'm going to work off this bit here. That all comes underneath those details. I'll pop those on like that. And just little lines on there. Just got 3 little windows, sit on top of that. Put those where you like. I'm going to go in with the unicorn in a little bit once I've got this on. And I did the window underneath there, a little bit bigger underneath it, so you can see how that looks. So just make a box within inside a box. And then some window shapes in there. How's everyone doing? We're doing all right. I'm not going to go yet to the next bit. I'm just going to wait for you to do your little details. We'll be going over this all in the pen in a little bit once we've put all the detail in on that side. If you have done it, you can carry on and do these bits up here in the tower. And you can kind of see where these lines come off the start of the roof there. I would do those. I've already kind of got a line there from when you drew it across. And then just put yourself a little window in there. And then these are the bigger windows. Up top, that window, this big one here, is this one on the front. The side one is not very detailed because you can't really see it. So I'm just going to put that one in as well. Maybe it was a bit loud. How's everybody? Are we all right? Everyone's very quiet today.
Yeah,
Debbie, you know the obviously the front of the tower and then to the right of it. My instinct is to angle it a bit. You've just done a straight
line. If you like, yeah, you can angle it. On my original one, it's angled. It just makes it. It's not really, because it's going to be in the shade. That bit, so you're hardly going to notice it.
Right. Okay.
Look, black. Jennifer, look, it's black, almost.
Yeah.
So you're not going to notice it too much, but you can like it slightly angled, literally. Oh, no, not much really.
Yeah.
It's hardly angled at all, really. Probably like a millimetre, I would say, the most. So it's so far out in the distance, you're not sitting right underneath it. If you were sitting underneath it, you'd have more of an angle. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, for the long line bit under the tiny windows, are you doing like those pencil shape things, or are you just normal lines?
What's that? Sorry, under the what bit?
On the long line, are you doing those kind of pencil shaped shapes, or are you just doing lines?
This bit here?
Lines? Yeah.
It's just going to be pencil lines.
Lines.
I mean, sorry, you're going to go over it with a uniball, and it's this bit here, look.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
The original. So we're just going to fill that in. Basically, we're doing draw it, and then we're going to cover it with leaves, with trees and bushes. So we're just going to get it in there first. Jennifer, you're going to be doing angles on the fields in a bit. There you go. As they're coming towards you.
Okay.
Yeah. How are we doing? Have we got all those bits and pieces on? You'll see how it comes in relationship to the trees. There's a tree in the picture and the bushes in front, because now we're going to hide it basically behind the foliage in the original one. It then gets hidden behind all these bushes. So you need to just put the side bits on here. There's the little turret bit that comes out the side. It's not even that centimetre, it just sits below that on there. So just come down and give yourself the side bits that stick out on the side. And then we're going to pop the tree on. And this is where the 11, 12, and 13 point is. So I want you to draw yourself, so that will come up about, draw a line across, I would say, about 5. So that comes up about 5 there. If you want to get the height of the tree, I mean, you can see it where it is, sits with your church. I would use that more of a guide personally, but if you want a rough guide, so it comes out from here from the 3, and just draw yourself a little round shape like this down, and number 8 sits about there, just to give you that circle shape for the tree. And then inside that we're going to draw the leaves, because basically that's what autumn trees look like. They are big circles, and then you rub out the circle, because as all the leaves go off, all the branches go off out to that shape. So find your 13 point, find your 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And just draw yourself a big circle. True shape. So that's what I've drawn in there, a big bowl shape. And then this tree trunk part here comes off, so it goes up the middle. So you're going to start it in between 11 and 12. And take it up, and then it's going to branch off. And you're going to create your own little weave of trees up there. Your version of that. Take that up and just split it off. And then just use just as you get to the outside of that circle, they thin out. So you just basically take your little pencil off and just branch it off like that. So I just take branches out, and as you get to the outside, you thin them out. So obviously the thicker bits in the middle, branches. You just take it up and just thin them out. Just bump the outside of that circle. Because you're going to rub that circle out a little bit once you've got this all uniballed in. You're just taking it up. Just gently take them up, just how you like. Sort of branch off like that. And don't overthink it, because they're like little skeleton things in the sky there. Just make sure your trunk is wider at the bottom here. Take a tree. Just fill it in with little branches. We'll go over that in a bit with pen. And we'll just put bushes on, and then we'll fill that in with pen. So you see my bushes are quite like loose. You need to just, in the picture, they're just loose as well. And just little squiggles on there. You just put them where you want them. And then once you are happy with what you've got on there, you can just go over. If you are going over the uniballs, but you don't have to. Just make sure if it's uniball and it's waterproof, but just go over it with your uniball. Now the light is coming from the left-hand side on this, so you can give it some shadow on these little side turrets. And then obviously on the church, we're going to give it some shadow. You can give it some little lines with your uniball. Just very carefully. And we're going to go over it with paint as well.
So are you not doing the actual church in uniball, you're just sort of doing the shading bit and the tree?
Yeah, you're going to do, well, I can do the whole thing in uniball, basically. With the uniball in, I'll just show you some shading on it. So basically what you've got on your paper at the moment, you just go over with uniball, and then we're going to go over with paint, add some darker stuff in, Jennifer. Okay, so what we've got on the page there, obviously we don't want that circle, so you're going to rub that out. I just want the tree in there, so I will now rub out that circle I drew for the tree. That was just a guideline, and obviously you'll rub out all the other lines once you put the uniball on. Now go over your church with uniball.
You've got some pictures for the back, can't you? You want like some recipes?
Is it every way?
No. See you next week.
gently get all those details on. Careful with your ruler. You really will that you don't smudge it. I'm going to put my bushes on first, and then I'm going to draw in my bottom here, and then draw in. Then you put something that resembles a church. And then the tree on the left-hand side of the trunk is darker because that's where the light's coming from. Right, sorry, the trunk on the right-hand side is darker because the light is coming from the left, basically. So I'm just going to draw that trunk a little bit darker on that side. You don't have to follow your original lines diligently, you can just go over them where you had them. So that, because you're going to create the tree with paint, basically. This is just the skeleton part of it. First. And the back of the church has got a little bit of shadow on it as well, so really little hash lines like that to give it some shadow at the back. We will put paint on there as well. Some little grass and stuff like that. That line that we created needs to be a bit more loose. It needs to be a grass. There's some like grass stuff going on here. Just make it a little bit looser. Let's put some shade on there. Like that. And the other important bit we need to add on, the little line, and you'll take it to about halfway in the roof from this corner here. And very gently, very lightly, just draw yourself a little line. And we will colour that in. That's the shadow the tower makes on the roof. You can give it some little roof tiles if you want. And it needs to follow the angle of that roof there. It needs to come down. So they need to be the angle that you've got on the roof when they come down. So they should follow both lines on the roof. So that these lines going horizontal should follow the horizontal of the roof, and the ones that come down vertically should follow the verticals of the roof. And that'll give you some texture on that. And once you've got all that on and you've got it all unigled in, you can very, very carefully rub it out, but do check that the pencil, the ink is dry under that pencil. do leave on the vertical and horizontal lines that you drew originally. We still need those a little bit. You can rub out all the bits on the church, though. The tree. You might find you need to add a little bit more to the tree. Might be okay. Yeah. If you need to make your foliage a bit bigger, then this is the time to do it. We'll put the paint on. And the back of the church is in the shade. Your permanent. How's everyone doing?
Getting there, but still got
Right.
quite a lot to do.
That's all right, absolutely fine. I work quickly and I've only just done mine, so I know you'll be a while yet. I just want to make sure you're all right before we add foods and everything in.
Abby, the line you've done for the shade on the roof, is that in Uniball?
Sorry?
The line you've done for the shade on the roof, is that in Uniball, that diagonal line?
This, yes, you can put it in Uniball. It's actually, I'll show you what it actually is. It's this here, the shadow on the roof here,
Okay.
for the church. Just don't do it too heavily, just do very lightly across.
Thank you.
It's all right. It just gives you basically that triangle with a pop in dark, and then you
Oh,
so you've got that nice crisp line for the shadow on the roof.
I've just realised, you know, the 3 windows,
Yes.
I've blacked in where you've got it white, and I've got white where you've got it black.
Doesn't matter. You won't see it.
Your son changed direction.
No, it just means it's inside there and it's a black window basically. So I won't worry about it too much. Absolutely not worry at all. No one will notice, I can guarantee you. As long as you've got the main light source, which is basically the tower, when we put the paint on, that will be dark behind there. And the tree is got a bit of dark on it. That's where your eye go to. You won't even notice the window. Just add in a little bit of grass and stuff. Just be quite loose with that 4 centimetre line that we drew along the bottom there. Just try and be quite loose and just put grass and basically foliage. I've just worked along there with my pen. Just give it some squirrels and stuff. And the right hand side of the tree is dark as well. Just try and keep that dark. And inside just a little bit darker. Right. Don't overthink it too much because we're going to make it darker with the paint, really. On pencils. Then cut it up completely once we've got the field lines on there. I work quite loosely whenever I do buildings and stuff. Some people don't like to work like that, like to work quite tight. It's really your style of how you prefer to work. You right, Jennifer?
Yeah, just my 4 windows are completely round the wrong way. It just looks a bit,
Where have you
doesn't
got
look right.
4 windows? Show it to me. You're overthinking something. Show it up. Okay, so what will go in there once we paint, we will put a bit of grey paint in there. It won't look strange. You know the paint on the, because we're going to use this kind of indigo paint. You could just go in your windows and do that. Yeah.
Can I just make the bush bigger?
Oh, you could.
Just cover it up.
You could give them stained glass windows or something.
Oh goodness, not with watercolour.
I won't overthink it. You won't even notice once we start painting completely.
You can have ivy over the top.
You could.
Good thinking, Sarucci.
Good. Exactly. Right. Let's put some cloud fields in. Now, we do that 4.5 line, and we're going to be working off that one, just underneath the church one that you put on there just now. And then we need to come out 6 dots, 7 dots we've got on here. So let's put 1 centimetre apart on that 4.5 centimetre line. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Sorry, you said 7 dots, 1 centimetre across.
Yes, please. 1, 2, 3. And then at the, so that should be about 4.5. Then at the 5, so I'm going to draw. How can I explain? I don't want that one on first. I want these ones on first. So I want you to draw, comes at about, that's how I do it. So I want you to draw yourself a line down from the 7. So you have a line that comes down like that. Then from the 1 centimetre mark, draw yourself a line so it meets the bottom of it. And it should give you the start of the angle. Now you're going to take it from the 2 centimetre part. Now the first one here, at the bottom here, goes out about 3.5 centimetres. And that gives you the width at the bottom here.
Debbie, where your finger was a moment ago, what number have we gone down to there?
This one, this one.
Yeah, well, yeah, down to the, follow that line down to the sort of 45 degrees downwards, where you've got your 3.5. Yeah, how far did that go down?
That came down, what, this bit here?
Yeah.
Or the up bit?
No, the bottom bit.
I'll just come down to the bottom of the page like this.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're just going to fade off the page when you draw it. I'm just trying to get your angles right. Well, it's not right, just trying to get the angles. So just literally draw your line off the page like I have there. So I basically drew my line there. That's what I want. And what about that little line that we drew down, because I don't need that anymore. And then you go to the 2 centimetre point. Now the bottom here, off here, I want you to draw 3.5 centimetre point. Your pencil like that. Then at the 2 centimetre point up here, just join them up like that. You can see we're starting to create little tram lines. You go to the 3. You're going to use your judgment on the next one. I'm just going to take it off. Probably about 3 centimetres. You've got to do it less and less. You can do 3 if you want. I'll do a 3 centimetre point. And the 3 point and draw like that. Go to the 4, and that's slightly less. And coming up, as you can see on the page there, it should start to come up the page as it fades off. You just angle your ruler each time. So you're basically tipping your ruler around like that, like a clock. That's what you're trying to do. So you just go to the next point, tip it around a bit more, next point, tip it around a bit more, next point, tip it around a bit more. And you should have something that looks similar to that. Yeah. Does that make sense to everybody? Does anyone need any help on that? Yeah?
Yeah, it's fine.
If in doubt, just literally hold your ruler here and tip it round, round, round. Move it along to each point and then just tip it around like that.
And should we do the lines with the uniball?
Not yet. I'm going to get all the lines on first. We want them on first, and actually we don't draw them fully in uniball, they're kind of more dashed, if that makes sense, because they're supposed to simulate kind of a field. We'll just get them on in pencil first. So this one here, so we're going to have the fields going off at the other angle now. So we're going to come down at about the, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, number 5, and just draw yourself a little line across, so it just hits that first one, like that. And then take that point there and take it through the bottom one that you, the 7 centimetre mark that you put on, and draw yourself a line across the page like that. So it should be slightly down from that original line you drew. Right, so now we're going to put the other side in. So we're just creating the fields at the moment. So we've got these here. I've just done that side, and now we're just going to create the other side, sweeping round. So obviously in the foreground, they're wider. So we're going to create, what have we got on here? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 dots, no, 6, sorry, 6 dots out from the original line that you drew. That way. 6 dots out that way. 1 centimetre apart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I want you to draw yourself that first line, this line here we've just drawn, it's in red. And you're going to come out about 4 centimetres and draw yourself a dot. Basically, I'm going to draw, this is my line, I'm going to come out the bottom here, 4 centimetres, draw myself a dot. I'm going to take it from that number 1, we're on the other side of this vertical line here, and draw yourself a line out to that 4. And then back over that line, centre line that I drew, going back to that 1, and I'm going to draw myself a line. And what I want you to do, you've got this little triangle bit here, and just draw yourself a line very gently that comes towards you. So a line here. Centre part. Then you're going to work off the numbers like we did the other side. So you're going to go right back to the vertical line, and you're going to come out 4.5 centimetres at the bottom here. Do yourself a dot. And just join those up. It's like a fan you're kind of trying to create. And then we're going to go across the 4. Sorry, not 4. 1, 2, 3. Third point. And draw yourself, literally, we're going to do that thing again where we turn the ruler. So come out and just turn it slightly. So just turn the angle and turn the angle. Yeah. So basically, I'm going to get mine. To easy to show you. So that's my third one. I'm just literally going to get my ruler. I'm just going to turn it just slightly and just draw it out to the edge of the page. And I'm going to go skip 1, go there, and 6. Ruler on, and you're just trying to get it more horizontal. You just slightly turn it. Just take it out. And just add yourself another one off that 7. Give you kind of the angles. Now, we are going to slightly uniball them, but I don't want you to draw like a very harsh line. So we've got this line here, which is the top of the field. So basically it's like a grass line. So you just kind of do like a squiggle. And the plough bits, it's almost like a dashed line, but don't do it even when you dash it. You know, when you get to the front, they can be a bit longer. Just try not to do it too even. Because you will kind of paint. So you can see I'm just taking my pen off the page. So dash, dash, and hold it off a bit longer. So you want to understand that. I'll move that one, these out, and you can see I've left gaps in my lines over here. Just wait for the ink to dry on these ones. So dash, 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 and then hold it on for longer when I get near the front. Dash, 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 hold it longer. And those background ones can be more dash, 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 and then you've got that line at the 4.5 mark. And just kind of get rid of that straightness and give it a little wiggledy bit as if it's the back of the field there. Once you're happy with all that, just make sure your ink is dry before you rub it out. Just rub them up. So you can get rid of all those line down there. You don't need that measuring line anymore. I'll do that underneath. I'm going to actually draw in hills yourselves. I'm just going to put the other big tree in a second. Is everyone all right with all that? I've got this line with the church here. I've still got mine on. You can rub that out. Don't need that either. Just literally need these 2 lines here to work with. Everyone all right with their tram lines on their fields? It's just really looking at your picture and doing yours how you like, but just try and make sure they are wider at the front and narrower at the back. Basically, that's all you're trying to go for, to create that distance. That's how you create it. Like chain tracks. Put the other tree in a second. Just wait for you to all get to that stage. Give me a thumbs up when you have got everything on there that I have. Tram lines, the fields, the church and everything. And I know you're at the next stage where we can do the tree. A little bit more freewheeling with the branches and everything this week. You see how if you do the hashing lines, you do them smaller at the back, how it creates that kind of distance. It doesn't take much for the eye to kind of work out perspective. You just have to give it a few little hints. And it'll just do it for you. And then we'll go on to the tree when everyone's ready. As you can see, the bit that you will be freewheeling is this little bit down here, the hills and the fence and the gravestones. But we'll put the tree in first and then you can pop those in a second. And the tree is the same as we did before. You're going to take number 1 point, comes in at about 6, comes down, and we need to add a few more on here. We've got 6 on here, so you actually need to add 3 more, so we've got 9. So add yourself 3 more dots on the end there. We've got 6 up top. You can create yourself a little square if that helps you. The first square. And then do a little oval shape here, mushroom shape, and inside that you're going to create your tree like we did before, same thing. So do yourself your little bubble. The tree's going to go in. Now his trunk size starts in between about 5 centimetre point here. That gives you a reference. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just draw yourself a line down. That's what I've got going on mine at the moment. So I do the big bubbly thing. 5 centimetre line down. Now I've got a marker that I can draw either side up. It comes through the 4, comes through the 6, splits in the middle there, and then we're just going to fan it out as you get to the outer circle there. And make sure obviously it's trunk at the bottom there's thicker to hold up the tree. Doesn't have to look exactly like mine. You might not come through those 2 points. You might decide to do it slightly different, doesn't matter. It looks like some kind of tree. Quite happy for you to do what's different. The reason why we do this circle here is because a lot of winter trees, if you look at them, once they've lost all their leaves, they have that kind of skeleton look. It's actually very sphere-like. So you draw this kind of sphere to kind of work out too, really, so your tree is more even once you rub it all out. It's almost little squiggly lines just to the outer. Obviously, come down below as well to create branches too. So on mine at the moment, I'll just put this down. And I'm going to work down below the line here. So I put the 2 big thick ones on first. So that was a 5 centimetre line I drew. So I've just gone up. I've gone up either side of that, and I've just kind of split it out, and then I'll split that bit out. So then my 2 big branches, and I'm just going to work off those. So I'm just going to take lines up, take smaller branches up, and just literally take the pencil up, and then create another branch up, and take it up, and I just work right across the tree. Just create little branches. Just take it up. As long as you work inside that little circle, once you rub that out, that looks fine. It's quite a big tree to cover. So don't overthink the branches. You're going to go over it all with paint. So, like that. Just rub out that circle. Take it out. Wow. Then once you're happy with your tree, you can put it in your uniboard. Remember the light's coming from the left. If you need to remember, you just draw yourself a little sun, roughly. You can rub that out later. Just remind you. This trunk here on the left is going to be dark. I'm just going to go up and create little branches. Draw that tree in there, that bit in there. So, and all these trunks, these branches I've got on the right hand side of the tree. I'm just going to make them a little bit darker. So I'm going to go over those a little bit. Dark inside there. Dark down that side of the trunk. Branches out. They get thinner and thinner, the branches, as you get obviously towards the outer part of the tree. And they're thick inside here, and they're just basically little squiggles on the outer part there. Almost hold your pencil at the end there, pen at the end there. That. Just take your time getting the tree how you want it. Just rub out my pencil. You don't need any more of the lines or anything now. You can rub, once you've done your tree, you can rub out all the points, measurement points. You no longer need them. How are we doing? Does anyone need any help or anything? Oh, cool. Well, it's everywhere. So, how's everyone doing? Has everyone done their tree? Or are we still working on our tree?
Yeah.
Cool. If you have done your tree, you can pop the hills in. Now, I'm not going to measure them for you. Basically, there's some hills here, and they kind of sit behind the tree. So take your pen up and then draw one behind it, and it comes back behind the church. And then there's a fence along there. Just draw yourself a fence in. So basically, when you draw the fence, you draw in a square like that, and then on the right hand side it's dark. Just goes like that and dark, as you can see on the screen there. So just do the right hand side of the square, rectangle side, dark, and just join them up with little lines. And put some gravestones in if you want. You don't have to. So we want to help like a little gravestone or something, sort of shape of one. I'm just going to draw over this one. So a gravestone, you do like that, and then inside a little line like that, and then on the right hand side you just colour it dark. That's a very simple one. We've got
That'll go
another
nicely with my windows.
Stop it, Jennifer. We'll sort the windows out, I promise. It's all going to be in hand. It's fine. That side of the church is dark anyway, so we're going to be all right with that one. So then another shaped headstone is it kind of goes around like that and has a little bump on it, and then you just follow that around and create a dark bit on that side, basically. I need a bigger pin. Do that. Big. And then you've got a cross. We also do. We also don't. These aren't done as big as I've done them in this picture here. So I'll just enlarge them so you can see them. And then another one is a cross. You could do. And then just make sure that side's dark. And underneath dark. I don't overthink it because they're only small in the picture. You're not really going to look at them too much. Just get your heels in and those little bits there. And make it looser. We don't want to see any lines. You can get rid of any harsh lines. You want it all fluid, really. So the fence there. I've got the little crosses there. And just here where the church is, just give it a little darker bit where it goes in there. And then the little knobbly bit on top of the church, you can make that dark with your uniball, just that dark. Underneath the roof here, you can give it a little bit of a darker line like that. And we've done all the other bits. Waiting for everyone to finish off. We're going to get your paints out. Water ready. Don't hurry. Absolutely no hurry at all.
Super happy with my trees. I think I made them way too thick. Do you think the paints will help?
Sorry?
I'm not very happy with my trees. I think I made the branches far too thick. Will the paints help?
Yeah, we're going to go over it with some paint. Yeah, we can go over that. Who said that?
It's Jenny.
Hi, Jenny. Turn it around, let me have a look. Just hold it up so I can see.
1 sec.
Put it forward. Oh, yeah, no, we're going to go over those with trees. That's fine. Absolutely fine. Good, good. You haven't gone over it heavily. It's fine. Lovely. Love all those. Brilliant.
Oh, mine is a lot worse than that one.
I'm going to go over it with some browns. So don't worry.
Okay.
Always just going to give it. I'm going to go over it with. You can see here, trees. We put brown in it basically, and then a lighter brown ahead. But we can add brown down the sides. Okay. Don't panic about it. It'll come good. Promise.
Good. I'm just going to run and get my charger. So you can.
Okay. Tidy it up. If you're waiting, just get your paints ready, water ready, a bit of kitchen roll, and paintbrushes are going to work with. you have a wax candle or a wax resist crayon, I've got numerous kinds of candles. This candle, a big candle, one of those.
Will a crayon do, Debbie?
Is it clear?
It's white.
Oh, I don't know. We try it. Try a separate piece of paper and see what happens if you put a bit of paint over it.
Okay.
This should work because all we're doing is creating white. So yeah, try it. I think it would be fine because basically we're just going to draw where the some of the tram lines have been so we don't lose them in the front of the church and where we want to keep lights on the tree. Yeah, it'd work, I reckon. I didn't know they did white wax crayon. I suppose you'd use it on black paper.
Yeah.
Normally. I think it would work.
Yeah, it seems to be.
It does. Good.
Yeah.
So we'll use that on the trees. It just makes doing the trees a little bit easier if you've got like a wax candle or something.
Sorry, I had to pop out. What have I missed?
Candle or a crayon, or if you've got a white wax crayon, it works. We're just going to pop those on the picture. I just want to make sure everyone's ready first before we get to this stage. You need your water ready, your paint's ready, your brush is ready. So we're just going to pop that wax resist. It's called wax resist on there. Just makes it a little bit easier. So just give me your thumbs up. Please don't hurry at all when you are. I've got all your paints out.
I have a wax or crayon, so would that be okay still?
Yeah, all it does is allow you to be a bit more fluid with your paintbrush. You can just leave. Basically, it's doing this here. You see this here? So you just leave a bit. That's all with your paintbrush when you're painting it. So it won't make much difference. You will need one for next week though. Will make your life a lot easier for next week. So just a candle, any old. I mean, this is one off a cake. I think I found in my cupboard. I quite often use this one if I'm using bigger pictures. It's just a big candle. It doesn't have to be one of these fancy art ones. It can be just a normal candle. So I had a tea light the other day, dug it out of there, tinfoil wrapper, and used that. So it doesn't matter.
I'm doing that.
You're doing that, are you?
Yeah, tea light out of a wrapper.
It'll work. There you go. It'll work. So what we're going to do is to create. So when you're painting, it makes it a lot easier. You don't lose the light. So as we said before, the light's coming from the left here. So we want to make sure we don't lose it when we're painting. So just down the side of the church here, I'm just going to draw with my candle just down there. And obviously you can't see where it's going. So it comes quite a surprise. And then on the front of the bushes here, just a little bit more of a squiggle. And then the tree trunk here, just going to draw a little line down there. Don't overdo it because where it goes, you can't paint. And then very carefully on the front of that other big tree trunk a little bit. And then the odd tram line, just dash down. Don't overdo it. And just work your way across the field, little bits, just dash. Just follow those uniball lines. And that's it, nothing else. Don't need to do anything else. Oh yeah, top of the little tower here, up here. Just give him a little bit. That's all we need to do on that one. So, let's put my brush. Now, when I paint eyes, I always start mine upside down. So I like the water paint to run. So I turn my painting upside down. It's going to go so I can see what I'm doing. Turn my camera so you can see. Now, the reason why I do that is because I'm going to put water on. I'm only going to paint with water first. So now that I'm going to paint the sky. Now I use a colour called phthalo blue. You might not have that in your paint box. You might have Prussian blue. If you don't, you definitely will have ultramarine or some kind of blue that you like for the sky. Now you will need your kitchen towel, and you will need to tear off a little bit of it. Because this is how we're going to create a cloud. So you're going to have a piece of kitchen, and then you're going to get a little bit like that, and you just split up in your hand like that, and you're just going to leave it to the side for a minute. So I'm going to put some water on my page. I've just got water on my brush, that's it. I'm just painting round the church. I mean, you can watch me at the moment and then go in afterwards. I will wait, don't panic. And just sort of just touch the tree, go around him, fill in the spaces. And because I've got the paper tipped a little bit, it starts to run down to the top of the page because I've got it upside down. So inside the tree there, I'm painting a little bit of blue. I'm just going to take, I've always got water, I'm just painting around the tree with water. And sometimes if you want to see where you've painted, if you just look to the side, you can see where the water is. And I'm quite happy with that. I'm just going to leave that for a minute, and then I'm going to get some phthalo blue on mine. I like to use phthalo blue for my sky. And I'm going to just pop it on there. And because it's tipped, you can see it's running down the page. You don't need to worry about it because it will just literally follow the water line. And I'm going around the church, just following it. I haven't got any more paint on my brush, it's just the same paint. A little bit in there because this is quite a big tree. I'm going to go around the tree. I'm going to go across here. I'm just getting some blue sky on. I'll put some more blue on. This side, over there. Make that a bit darker in there. And it will literally only follow the water. It will just sit there, it's just puddled at the bottom there because it won't go any further because of the water. I'm just going to get it and spread it about a little bit. You don't have to work upside down if you don't want to. It's really up to how personal preference. I just like it because I think it gives it a bit much effect. And just go around the church. Now I'm quite happy with that. I'm just going to take it a bit now, around, add it up. Now that's got basically the sky. Quite happy with that. Show the camera to see it better. There you go. Now I'm going to add a bit more phthalo blue down here. I want that a little bit darker. I want that a bit darker. Back there, down the back of the chair. Clean my brush. I've got nothing on my brush except water. Tease that out a little bit. It's just water on my brush. I'm just spreading the colour about a bit. And clean my brush again. Take off the excess water. I'm just going to spread that out a little bit. Now, I got used to scrub a little bit of kitchen towel. I'm going to make some sky, cloud, sorry. So I'm just going to get it. I'm just going to lay it on there and tip it. And see it starts to take paint on. And you get these little clouds without really doing anything. You just dab it on gently. You just choose where you want your clouds yourself. Another one there. Put a little one in here. Just with a bit of kitchen towel. That's it. Just gently fade them out. If I want that little puddle gone, I'll just put my paintbrush, take off the excess water with your finger and then just pop it in. It acts like a little hoover and it'll just hoover it up. So that's fine. I'll clean my brush. You have to keep cleaning your brush, obviously, because you get too much paint and you start pulling it around the page. I'm just going to take off a little bit there. And go along, tidy it up a little bit. Any half shapers.
Well, I can safely say my sky doesn't look anything like yours.
Who said that?
Oh, mine doesn't.
Jenny, it doesn't seem to have done the lovely water effect that I've been trying to put more water on. It just looks interesting, I think is the word.
Did you do it upside down, or did you do it?
I tried doing it upside down and it just looks horrendous. Looks like I've got all the brush strokes. I can't get it anything like you've done it.
So Jenny, did you clean your, when you had the brush, with watercolors, you need to keep cleaning your brush. Otherwise, what happens is you start pushing the same color and the same variant of color around the whole page.
Okay.
You'll put a bit of paint on, and then you let that, watch what it does. You go and clean your brush, come back, take it off, and then go in again. And you have to keep cleaning your brush, because what happens is you start just pushing the same color around the page. You don't need to do, you hardly need any paint with watercolors. I mean, I've had this palette for about five years, look, and I've hardly used any. You don't need much color. It's only my favorite ones do I have replaced once. If you want to take, because we need the top of that a bit more faded, don't we, on yours? So you could get your brush. How big's your brush you're working with?
Well, the paint set came with a tiny one, but I've got some larger ones. So I've been trying to use that or that.
Yeah, bigger the better. Mine's a 12. This is a 12 I work with.
Well, mine don't seem to have that sort of numbering. This large one says 3/4. I mean,
because it's the flat. That's 3/4 of the. Have you got the round ones?
I haven't got anything like that. I've just got these small things.
It's all right. So I would say, Jennifer, you could try and go in with just the big brush with water on your brush on the top, and just put some water in and get your kitchen towel and dab some of that colour off at the top there, so it's more faded at the top. But just put water on and then go dry your brush, go back in. You've got to keep going back in, back in. Don't just put it on and then swish over the whole thing. You need to put a bit of water on, just take it off and then put a bit more water on, and then go in with your kitchen towel, see if you can get some off at the top there. Because what we're after is, let me just move that out of the way. Basically, what you're after is, I'm just going to put on into the horizon line there. Let me move this out of the way. So that's your horizon line and that's your water. And then you go in with your blue. Right, now if I carried on with that paint on my brush, I would literally get this, which it does fade. But I want it less than that, so I'm going to do this down here. This is just water going on. I put paint across here. Then I'm going to clean my brush. Take off the excess water. And I'm just going to gently bring it up. Clean my brush. And I want that more watery effect. That's when you tip it and it runs. It follows. You can see where it follows the paper.
Debbie, does that look okay?
Yes, that's lovely. Love that. Is that Catherine?
Yeah.
Good. The key is just to put less on, because you can always take it off. I mean, it's easier to add than it is to take off. Jennifer, how are you doing with taking some of yours off? Well, that looks fine. You need to, what is missing on yours is you can actually see your brush strokes. It's probably that flat. Did you use the flat brush for that one?
Yeah, that's all I've got. I don't seem to have anything round, I'm afraid.
even though it's flat, make sure your strokes all go the same way. Because you've got some going that way, some going that way. I can see around one of the trees, haven't you? You've changed
Yeah.
the stroke. So if you keep it going the same way across the page with that flat one, you shouldn't get lines on it. It's a good way to, you can use that brush to create kind of textures and stuff with the brushes you have on there. I think it looks fine. You just need to add maybe a little bit darker horizon. That's all. Here, maybe make it a bit better. It's mixed media paper you're working with, is it, or watercolor paper?
Watercolor paper.
That should hopefully be even easier than mixed media paper. How's everybody else doing? Lots of paintbrushes. Jennifer, see if you can get rid of those little. That's it. Oh, good. Like that. Good, good. So Richie, that's lovely. Is that with your pencils?
Yes, partly with pencils, partly with paint.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's have a look,
Everything.
Rachie.
Sorry?
Let's have a look.
I'm just mixing everything.
That's good.
Very good.
Like that. Jennifer, you just need to, if you darkened up your horizon a little bit, it'll probably take your eye off the stroke a little bit.
If I put a big black cloud in front of it, I think it might take the eye off it as well.
I think we need to add a bit more on yours to balance it out a little bit first before you start playing with it, I think, a little bit. So I think what we'll do is we'll go on to the church. Well, actually, let's do the trees first and then we can discount those. So the trees is water again. You might find some of your blue comes on there, it doesn't matter. Want it kind of sunny to mix in. And then choose an autumn colour. Now I've got burnt sienna in mine. And the back of the tree on the right can be darker. Just go in lightly first, and then you can add a little bit more. And just watch what it does. Because it's in water, it just literally spreads itself, and you can just watch what it does for a little bit. And then just move it around. You can see I'm just blobbing it on. I'm not painting it, I'm just blobbing it. Just tapping it with my paintbrush. I'm taking it over where I've got the blue, so it goes into the sky. Just trying to get a little bit of colour on there. I'm going to go back and clean my brush because I'm going to get in like a browny, bluey colour, so I need to stop that happening. I've got a bit darker in this side. Darker in there. Just wait to see what happens a little bit. Clean my brush, come back out. It's got water on my brush now. Push it where I want it. It's just water on there. Now it's dragging paint, so I'm going to go in and clean it. Come back out. Take off the excess water. And just spread that out a little bit. And you can always add in a little bit of, you might have a burnt umber in your box in there somewhere, which you're going to use for the trunk in a minute. I'm going to go for a smaller brush to go around it. Get some shadow in there. Just autumn, choose some watercolours. You've got yellow ochre if you want to put some yellow in there. It's your choice. Just put some autumn colours. Your paint box might be slightly different to mine. So I'm just adding and just watching a bit of shadow in there. Just wait and see what happens with that. Clean my brush. I'm going to go with my smaller one and dab it around. It's not to overthink it really. And you come down and you can give the trunk, you would put a little bit of wax resist on there. So it should keep that right hand side quite light. And then literally you do a little bit of burnt umber, which is a brown down that side for the trunk. That should be his trunk. So all I've used is burnt sienna, burnt umber, with a bit of yellow ochre in there. And I'm just watching what he does slowly, just waiting and seeing. You just keep cleaning your brush. I've just got almost a dry brush to take out the water. And I just kind of gently move stuff around a little bit. Again, because otherwise you just start moving the paint around the page. Tidy that up. And once you've done that tree, you can go into the other one. It's the same thing again, you just water at the top. And choose your colours. I'm using burnt sienna on mine. So the right hand side is darker, so I'm just going to put paint on the dark right hand side to start with. And then watch what happens. Clean my brush. Take off the excess water. My brush is huge. I've got my little brush now. Just going to spread it around a little bit. Very gently. Clean my brush because now it's spreading the same colour all over. Come back out. I've got almost a dry brush here. I'm just going to borrow some paint on there because there's enough on there. And give it to the front of the tree. There's enough paint on there, so just go in and glop it in the front there. Plenty enough. So now I'm going to clean my brush and do the trunk with my burnt umber. And I've got my wax resist going on there, so it won't let me paint the front, which is good because that gives it its nice and dark. Let's go up in the tree. Some branches. But just wait and watch the paper. If you've got enough water on there, it will just do stuff, and you just wait. I quite like that little puddle there for me. There's a big puddle of water here on mine, this one here, which is at the moment there's a puddle of water, but it will dry like that. So I'm just going to leave it. So you have to watch and wait and see what happens to it. I just tease it around with always with a clean brush. You tease it around with not much water on it, because they hold water up here. So these brushes are held together, and here with some more of the bristles. As soon as you tip it up right, all the water you've got up here also comes out. So all the water up here also comes out. So you end up with a big puddle. So that's why I take off the excess water with a bit of kitchen towel. You just tidy it up. Really harsh edges, you just go in and a bit of water on them, hardly any water. Clean it, dry it, and you just take off the harsh edges like that. So that's almost a dry paintbrush, damp paintbrush I would call that. And just let that clean it back in again. How are we doing with our trees? Who needs to hide something on their trees?
I need to hide the tree.
Who needed to hide something on their tree? Someone needed to hide something on their tree, or wanted to hide something on their tree.
Yeah, that was me. I think I had 2 branches, but
Is it all right now? You've got the trees on there?
I'm still not happy with my trees. I just don't think I can draw trees.
I'm sure you can. Just need a little bit of, I'm sure it's so you got to remember with a painting you've got to work on the whole thing. Sometimes you have to do other bits on it first before the rest of it appears okay. Jennifer, did you sort your sky out? Are we doing all right with our trees?
I don't know.
Okay. Oh, yeah, nice. Like those. Good. Hey, well done. Good. So don't forget, if you need to make anything a bit lighter, so remember the light's coming from the left, you can always go in with a bit of kitchen towel. Take some off. I just took some off. A bit like the clouds. If you need to do that, just a tiny bit, don't use a big bit. I just got rid of some of mine on there. Okay, let's do the church. The church is again, same thing. I'm going to put some water on. Just, here's literally one colour with some indigo over the top. So I'm just going to paint water over the church. Now I used what I called yellow ochre on my church with a little bit of so just clear my brush off because that's quite thick paint I've just popped on there. And the front of the church I can't paint at the moment because I've got that wax, which is what I wanted. So I'm just giving the church a bit of colour. So it's a yellow ochre and a burnt umber I've got going on mine. You see, because I can't paint over it, it's just easier. Whoever didn't have the wax, just leave the front of the church. Just don't paint that part. And I've just gone over with a bit of burnt umber there. Then to add the dark, I use indigo. If you've got like a Payne's grey, if you haven't got indigo, which we'll add in a little bit. I think we'll add that in a bit. That needs to dry. And that works. So the back of the church. You need to just make sure your church is not too wet at the moment. Let that dry for a minute. When we do the rest of it, we'll come back. So don't add your indigo at the moment because I'm a bit frightened you're all going to lose. I need to let that dry for a little bit. So literally the church is one colour at the moment. We're going to go in and add the dark. I want to keep those lines quite crisp, so I don't want anyone going in there at the moment. I just tested mine at the back there and it's still quite damp. So I'm going to add in, because you can add in the bushes in front there, because then we basically will have a dry church to work with to put the dark on. So water again. Choose yourself some watercolours. I've got like a raw sienna going here. I might add that one. Want more of a watercolour to go with my trees, so I'm just going to pop that in. You choose your colours. Some nice autumny colours. So that's burnt sienna going in. A bit of raw sienna, which is more of a what I call a mustardy colour. Mix them in there in the water. And then the back of the bush is darker under here, so I'm just going to add a little bit and just wait and see what happens. If I need to take it off, I will. Clean my brush. Paint. So I've just got water on my brush. And where that's got a big blob of paint, I'm just going to tease it out now. I just wanted it darker at the back there because of the light sources the other way around. So now that's spreading the same colour around and go in and clean my brush again. And look, just leave that. We're going to make the church darker in a minute. We're just going to work our way across the picture. How are we doing? Have we got our church on? Thumbs up if you have. We haven't finished the church yet. We're going to go back to that. So we actually put in the hills here. We're going to work on the hills, put the foreground in, and then we're going to go back to the church, and hopefully the church would have dried a little bit. So the hills again, I used an indigo, which is like a bluey grey for the hills. You can choose which colour you like, really. So I'm literally painting with water at the moment, and that's it, where the hill is. Just in between these fences. Try not to lose, you see these white bits we left on the front of the fence posts? Try not to lose those, or your gravestones. And then put a bit of indigo on there. And where those hills overlap, we're going to need it darker, but we're going to add a little bit in a minute. We just need to get the hills on there. So I'm just putting a bit of colour across, so gently just, probably a smaller brush, I've got a smaller one. Go around all your little objects. Put in, it shouldn't be as bright. So I've got too much paint there. I'm going to borrow some. So I'm going to clean my brush, take all the excess water. I'm just going to make that lighter. Because as you go into the distance, everything becomes lighter. The foreground is darker. And the background is lighter. Take off excess. So you just have to watch and wait and see what the paper does. So on my brush now, I've just squeezed all the water out of it. I'm just trying to fade that up a bit because I have put too much paint on. I want that less bright because it goes off into the distance. I want my hills to be quite faded. We'll add that little darker bit in there in a minute. Once it's dried, I need the paint to dry a little bit. So I'm fine with that. So it would have come down to the hills like that. It's all about controlling the water as well as the paint with watercolour. Sometimes you have to just wait and see what it's going to do and where it's going to go before you start filling with it even more. So that at the moment, it's not, I like that because it's quite light. I don't want it dark. So it's in the distance, so it should be lighter. I'm going to add a little bit of shadow in there once behind this church here, once it's dried a little bit. Just need it to dry a little bit, but that's I'm good with that. And what we're going to do is add on the cloud fields now. So this is where you're going to use I'm going to go back with my bigger brush. So same thing again, you just paint one area with your brush. And I used, take off the excess water, I used burnt sienna to start with a mixture of burnt umber. So this is browns basically you're trying to get onto the field here.
Did you do within the lines, Debbie, or did you just sort of blotch it?
I just put the whole thing with water over the whole thing.
Like we did the sky.
Yeah, because you'll see where we put that wax resist. Whoever didn't put wax resist, just be careful when you do it this way, because I'll show you on the other side there, whoever didn't do, I can't remember who it was who didn't have a wax candle. You should, if you look at the screen there, you can see where I put the wax. It's got the white bits, so you don't have to be so careful. If you didn't have the wax, you just need to go in with your paint in between the lines here. You can do it this way if you prefer. Some people prefer it. I'm just showing you different ways to do it really. Now this is a different way. If you prefer to do it this way, feel free to do it this way. Now I've put water on, but I'm actually not going right up to that black line that I put on at the moment. So I'm just leaving it like that. Then I'm going to clean my brush. And then I'm going to, so on my brush it's hardly any water. And you just sort of take it around and clean it again. You've got to keep going back and cleaning it. And then you take it out and then you clean it again. You pull it out again. Your knack is just to keep cleaning that brush. And I've just manually left a gap in. So it really depends on what you prefer. If you put the wax candle on, you don't have to. We're going to make these look like that with a little less effort. I'm going to do both one side and the other so you can. So this side I'm just painting on the stripes. I have got wax resist on both sides, so I'm hoping it doesn't hit that. And then just literally painted them on. And then I'm going to clean my brush, take off the excess water, and just tease the paint where I want it. I'm going to clean it. You have to keep going back and clean your brush. And then go back and clean it, take off the excess water, blend it, go back, clean it, take off the excess water, blend it, blend it. Now this side where we just put one colour, so that's kind of without the wax resist. You can go in with a bit more colour in between. And almost create the shadows on the where they've ploughed it. And you can use different browns. You can add in some burnt umber if you want. The darker bits should be in the foreground because that's where it should be. It should fade off into the distance. Then we will use a bit of indigo. I'm assuming you have indigo or something. I'm just going to add a bit of, even a bit more shadow on those ploughed bits with gentle. If you haven't, just use burnt umber or something. Burnt umber will work just as fine. Just give that little bit of dark on the fields. I'm going to put a bit on the bushes there. You can add it on these bits here that you did a different way. Just depends what method you prefer. And I tend not to come right off the page. And I'm going to add some dark here, up here, under the bushes. Just going to ground that a little bit. Now the tree is creating some kind of shadow over the flower bits, so just a bit of burnt umber. Clean my brush. I've just got water on it now, so I just want to blend it out. So it fades out. And to go. Use burnt umber. Burnt umber is quite a nice one to use. Nice dark brown, especially in the foreground. See how I've done darker colours in the foreground. It just gives that depth of field because it should be always lighter in the background. I've just added a little shadow on the tree, which was literally a bit of indigo. I just took it across. I don't know if you saw that. I just took it across the field, zigzagging across the fields. And then I clean my brush. Just going to watch what it does for a minute. And on my brush, I'll just squeeze out the excess water and just gently get rid of any brush lines that are going to appear. There. So the front, as you can see, is a bit more of that. Just wait and see what that happens with that one. It's darker. I've added in a bit burnt umber, a bit of indigo here. Go across the fields at the front. Just gives them that little bit of depth. I'm just going to ground these trees at the moment, kind of floating. So just give them a bit of shadow under the bushes. I've just got a bit of burnt umber and a bit of indigo on my brush and dabbing underneath there. So they feel like they're, so it's sat on something. At the moment it wasn't really sat on anything. You can always go back to stuff. And this little mountain here or hill, I'm just going to put a little bit of indigo, and then I'm going to clean my brush. Take off the excess water. I don't have anything on my brush except very tiny bit of water. I just gently tease that out. That gives it the effect of it's actually sitting behind the other one. Like that. That there. Just gonna keep applying that. Now we need to add the. How's everyone doing? Shout, please shout if you need anything. I'm just assuming you're following if no one's shouting out or anything. Have we got the kind of almost depth field on our cloud fields, like darker at the front here? And do you see what I mean by that? And then it fades off into the background there. I'm busy painting, I think. How are you doing, Jennifer? Your brushes? I've just put mine in the wrong colour.
Struggling a bit.
Is this the flat one you're using?
Yeah, this one.
Yeah. In trouble with flat ones, and they are good to use, is they do give you quite good. They'll be quite good on the what we've just done, the plough bits, because you can literally just drag your brush down, especially if you put the wax on there. You should just find they'll just drag down. And then if you turn your brush to the side, Jennifer, let me just show you on piece of paper. Now, that one. So you move that one out of me. We haven't finished that one yet. We've got to do the church. But if you use, say, the brown or the what do you call it, plough bits. Now you can turn it, to give it a good old clean. Turn it on its side. And if you go on the side, instead of dragging it down, just gently tap the side bit. Like that. Right. So I've just got the dark on that in a minute. And then you just wait. Wait and see what it does. Clean your brush. Take off the excess water. And the same with any other brush. Just gently on its side and just turning it on its side. Instead of pulling it, you're just using the other way to do it. And then you can go in the same. You can always start that up. With flat brushes.
Debbie, I'm really sorry I have to leave as well.
That's all right. No problem. I'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
I am recording it if you need to follow, finish off or do it again.
Thank you.
You're more than welcome. Lovely to see you. So you can go in and add a little bit more.
So this is probably a bit late to ask this, but I think this may be of where I've been going wrong, as well as using the wrong brushes. When you put a load of water on the page, then do you dry your brush and put it on the paint pot and then stick it on the paper, or do you leave it wet, put it on the paint pot and then add it onto the paper?
There's many ways to use watercolour. The way I've done today, you mean? I paint on, then I go into the paint. I put the water on, so I'm going to paint and then put paint on.
Yeah, but is when you put your paintbrush into the paint, is it dry at that point?
I clean it. You've always got to clean it. So
you
put your. All I've got in there is water at the moment.
Yeah.
And you don't want too much water in your paint, so you've got to judge whether you clean it with your cloth and you go in. So I've just done that. And there's not much. Yeah. And now I've got too much paint going everywhere, so I'm going to clean it and dry it off a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And then I'm going to go in and just push it around. Now I'm going to find, if I keep doing that, I'm going to get the same colour paint over the whole page. I don't want that. I want a blended effect. So now I've got quite a lot of paint on my brush. So I'm going to clean it. Use my kitchen cloth to take all the water. I'm going to go back in and tease it out again. So it's a clean brush. So you have to keep going back and teasing it out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
just teasing it out. Yes, you do have to keep going in and out, in and out. And when you're using your paints, you don't need much water at all. So you go in and you put the water on the page. You can do it dry. There are many different ways to do it. It just takes longer if it's dry. If you put water on, you can with the water on. If it's just clear water, you can go in with your paints as long as it's not too much, because otherwise it's just going to flood your water palette unless you've got them on a plate. If you're doing with these, you don't obviously want a big pool of water in them, because you won't be able to use that. Now I've just got water on my brush now. I'm going to go in straight into the paint. Indigo. And I'm going to do these. This is what I call dry one. So this is dry now. I haven't wet that paint there. It's just dry now. I've got to clean my brush, thoroughly clean it. Very clean it. Take off the excess water of that. Probably with my finger as well, depending on the size of the brush. I'm just going to gently tease that paint out. Now, if I keep doing that with the brush as it is, it will just drag the same hue of paint across the whole bit of the church, and I don't want that. I want a bit of variation in it. So I'm just going to take that up there. So I want more of a blended effect. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to clean my brush again. Take off the excess water. And then go to the edge of that and tease it. Water. Now that's just water there. And I can borrow a bit more paint. Just gently push the paint around. And now my brush is loaded with paint and I need to clean that now. I'm just going to leave that for a bit and see what happens. I'm going to create that shadow on the top of the roof. And this is dry. I've just gone in, I haven't put any water on the page. I've just got paint on my brush. Just draw myself a little line of paint. Just there. Don't need much. So I'm going to clean my brush thoroughly. Take off the excess water. I'm just going to gently tease it out. Now, if I carry on like that, it's going to spread the same dark, and I don't want that. So I'm going to go in and clean my brush again. Take off the excess water and just go to the edges and just gently tease it out to that line we drew, because I want that line quite crisp. Now, there's still quite a little dark bit in the corner there, which is fine. So I'm going to go in, take off the excess water. It's starting to move itself, but I need it to move a little bit more. So I'm going to go into that dark bit and just tap it gently, tease it out. It's all about just watching, because watercolour paper will react slowly, a bit like blotting paper. I'm quite happy with that. So I'll make that line a little bit more crisp. And then the back I've already done. Just need to do the side. The same thing again, I can do it dry. You can do wet on wet or dry on dry, so it's dark under there. Dark around my plant, my drew. And that's just paint I put on. Clean my brush. All I've done is I've got water on it, that's it. Take off the excess and then just gently tease it out. Go from the edges. Tease that, and I've got the same paint on there. I just borrowed it from up there, and that's I can take that around there if I want to. Leave that. After that, need any more than that. Just learning when to stop. And under here, I'm going to just put a little bit under these butches here. So I want that a little bit darker. I just got paint on brush. I'll just put it on. The thing is not to do big lines, is to almost poke it really. On the backs of these little gravestones, you can do a very light blue. If you're unsure, you just mix it on the top of your pot or have a paintbrush, or you should always have a little, like I've been showing you here, a little spare pad that you can pop a bit of paint on, and you can just test what you've got before you hit the paper. See, mine's put loads of water on that one. That little gravestone. So I'm going to go in with a really dry brush. I'm just going to pop the brush in there. And they act like little hoovers. It sucks it off. And I've got paint on there now, so I can use it on the others. Maybe the. So your windows are right, Jenny. You should be able, Jennifer. You should be able to cover them up with a bit of dark.
Net curtains.
Did you want me to show any more with the paint? I'm quite happy to.
No, I think just a combination of practice and maybe slightly better brushes next time. And
brushes are fine. It's just learning how.
Just me.
No. It's not you at all, Jennifer. It's a flat brush will work completely differently to a round brush. So I would say a flat brush, you almost use. They use almost like. Well, I only use them if I want to create kind of fur, because they've got this nice kind of flattish thing on them. Well, they do create texture, but to paint with them, you almost have to paint like you're decorating, and you almost get that going on. Whereas the round one, it can be a bit more fluid. You're not going to get directions of the paint.
I should stop mine, otherwise it'll get too messy.
Yes, that is what I was going to say. Stop. If in doubt, oh, that's beautiful. Love that.
I've done most of it with pencils, and I've added a bit of green in it.
Good. Well, whatever works. I wanted to introduce you with a little bit of watercolour, and it does take a while to get the hang of. And I would say less paint is better than more paint. So I said you hardly need any paint with watercolour, hence it's called watercolour. You need really hardly any, and you steer it with your paintbrush and the water. That's exactly how watercolours work. And the fundamental mistake people make is not cleaning their brush enough, and not going in with a clean brush and just literally waiting too long before they clean it, and literally they're pushing the same colour around the page and not getting that more gradient effect.
I've got a very heavy hand because I use oil colours. So I'm so used to just slapping a lot of paint on. I think that's where
it's not. I wouldn't expect yours to look exactly like mine, because your own personal styles will come through, and that's how you'll paint. I quite often in my other art clubs, everyone paints the same, but they're all different, and I know now each and every individual styles that come through, because everyone is slightly different.
Lovely.
Some people like to paint quite lightly, really lightly. I'm kind of probably in the middle, not dark, not light, kind of in the middle, and I paint quite loosely. Some you can paint quite nice and tight if you want. It's your decision. I really don't mind. Just try and get.
Thank you very much. I'm going to leave.
Okay, lovely to see you. And
thank you.
Through. Can you, Laura's, Lisa's not well at the moment, so I don't know where you're going to send them to, but I think
she'll send them just to Lisa, and she'll put them when she gets back.
Okay,
there you go. That's my effort.
Let's have a look. Oh, you see?
Have a look. Let me see.
Looks good.
You might as well see mine. Excuse the dotted lines.
Oh wow, love that.
Oh, nice.
Good.
Can I ask a question before you go, Debbie?
Yes, certainly. Do you need to see my picture anymore?
Weaves.
Sorry?
I did this last night from a photograph.
Oh, that's
this bit's meant to have white horses, and I don't know how to draw white horses, colour white horses.
You don't know how to colour a white horse?
Oh, well, to make it look as if there's white horses there.
So I'll tell you how, when I did a white cat, what colours I used. Purple and blues.
All right, okay.
And obviously leave a bit of white. You can use the wax idea, would help.
Well, that might work, yeah.
But not all of it, obviously.
The waves are crashing over these rocks, and I just couldn't.
Yeah, I use, if you want to create waves with watercolours, you can do, you can either use wax. I have used acrylics before now.
Right.
And you can a flat brush, Jennifer, is good for that. So you use a flat brush and you flick it up. So where it stands on the rock, you put your brush and then you flick it up, and that's with acrylics. Or if you've got a white in watercolours, the same, or gouache or something like that. Or a toothbrush loaded with acrylic and you flick your finger along it. Is so toothbrush, dip it in the paint, and then get your finger and then like that. Practice first though, because it's quite messy. Right close to the page where you want it, but practice first on another piece of paper, and it creates all that, the dots and the splashes. It's beautiful.
Right. Okay.
It's really
Just
nice.
because I'd done it with the pencils yesterday, and I was just.
That's beautiful. Really, really nice. But it's if you want to, is it waves you want to create, or you want to create a horse in the waves?
No, it's the waves. It's the waves crashing. It was where the waves were crashing.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well then, white. Sorry, I thought you wanted to do a horse. Okay. So do
no. No, it's just the waves are crashing. It's the one area in the photographs where everything's white.
Yeah.
Because it's where the waves are just breaking on the rocks.
So have you got acrylics?
No, I just started doing this.
Okay. Have you got white in your watercolor pot there?
Yeah, I do. I have, yeah.
So really thick white. Practice first. Try the one with a flat brush. If you've got a small flat brush, and just flick it up, that creates that.
Okay.
And then this does the dots over it. That's really good. Brilliant. It's messy though.
Oh, that's fine. I like mess.
That's how I would do it.
Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you.
Thank you
very much.
And if you can send your pictures through, that'd be lovely. And
which one are we doing next weekend? Not next week.
We are doing Nemo next week, I think. Let me show.
Oh, okay.
I think it's Nemo.
I'm going to get some new brushes.
I think I need to as well. I've only got one big.
I just went to Smith's and got these, and they're all flat. And
well, I've got one
they're probably foil paints. I haven't got many as well. I've got just these three.
If you could get bigger ones, better with watercolor.
Okay. I did not know that.
I think big and soft, isn't it? You need soft ones.
I mean, I literally paint all my stuff with a size 7 and a size 12. I have a whole pot here, and I very rarely touch them, because if I'm doing a really small eye, I might go with a tiddly one, but these with the pointed bits on them is more than enough for what I like to do. And they have to be soft and round.
I can see myself doing another Amazon shop.
Yeah.
If you need me to have a look, I mean, it's the trouble with brushes. It's such a big difference in prices. It's difficult. Get a nice brand like Winsor & Newton. They're, I don't know, they are about £15 a packet, but with brushes you do kind of get what you pay for. It's difficult for me to kind of recommend, because I kind of look, well, there's loads. There are some I do recommend to people. There's more brands than I would say, because I know they're consistent and they work. This is Lisa wanted a kiddies thing, so we've got this next week.
Oh, that'd be good.
Lovely.
And you will need wax, I will say. So it will be very difficult to create these bits on the top without the wax.
Okay.
We were doing a little bit of dry. Yeah, there'll be lots of skills going on with that one. But yes, if you can get yourself a bigger brush, because that's a lot of blue to be painting with a little brush.
Yeah. And what blue are you using? Is it ultramarine or Watercolour, you said?
I use phthalo blue for this. I use phthalo blue a lot, or you might call it Prussian blue in your paint.
Prussian. Yeah, Prussian blue. Lovely. Thank you.
You're more than welcome. Lovely to see you today.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just
Bye.
pop to me, I don't mind.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care. Thank you. Bye.